الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. My dear brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brothers and sisters, sorry. As we know, we are continuing the lesson, and we are studying the book of fiqh al-ibadat, the fiqh of worship, and we are studying the book called تمام المنة في فهم الكتاب وصحيح السنة, to the author whose name is Adil Al-Azzazi, and we reached to the page 16, and we are taking some issues which related to the miyah, to the water. And as we know, our lesson is, the first lesson is the miyah, or the purity, the purity, tahara. That's the first chapter in the book of fiqh. Always, every book, when it starts, every book of fiqh, when it starts with the fiqh al-ibadat, and the first thing is the tahara, the purity, or the cleansing. And as we know, last week, we took the water, the used water, and from the hadith which was narrated by Ar-Rubayya bint Muawwidh radiyallahu anha, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wiped his head with used water from his hand. He wiped in his wudu, he wiped his head with used water from his hand. And this hadith is sahih. And the second title is it is still same, the used water, but the other evidence, and that's from the ayah يا أيها الذين آمنوا, from Surah Al-Ma'idah, يا الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين وإن كنتم جنبا فاطهروا وإن كنتم مرضى أو على سفر أو جاء أحد منكم من الغائط أو لامستم النساء فلم تجدوا ماء فتيمموا. This is the فلم تجدوا ماء فتيمموا. So means the origin rule is the water to use for wudu is water, and if you don't find water, or if you are sick, you cannot use the water, then you have to go to alternative, which is the dust or the sand, to make tayammum. فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً فَتَيَمَّمُوا. So means the origin rule is water, and the water, the used water, goes to the origin rule. Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah. Barakallahu feek. it goes to the origin rule, which is the water is pure. The water is pure and it is used as purification, to purify things, like to purify yourself from dirt or from najasa, from impurity, or like to make ghusl, to make shower, or to purify things like clothes or anything. So the original rule is to go, because it is used water, so there's no evidence that the Prophet ﷺ said this water is used so you cannot use it for purification, for tahara. As we know, the water, the still water or the spring water, is pure. Thus the origin is tahir and mutahhir, because we know tahir and mutahhar. There is difference between tahir and mutahhar. Tahir is pure, and mutahhar is used as purification or to purify things. And the used water, it goes to the original rule, which is the water is pure and is used as purification. And there is no evidence that the used water is you cannot use it for purification, for tahara, because there are many hadith. That's one of the hadith is the one I said was narrated by Rubai' bint Muawwidh ibn Afra, and Rubai' is sahabiyah, and her father is sahabi as well, and he was killed in the battle of Uhud. And as we know, Afra has got three, Muawwidh and Mu'adh, and the other one I forgot the name, and they are three Sahaba, they are brothers. So Muawwidh has got a daughter, also she is Sahabiya, and the one she narrated this hadith. So she said that the Prophet ﷺ, he wiped his head. When wudu, we wipe our heads like from forehead to the back, and then we bring it back from the back head from backwards to the forehead. So the Prophet ﷺ, he used the water from his hand, and the water already he used it for to clean his hands. Means he was making wudu, and he used this water which was used to clean the hands, and he used it to make masah. And the other one, the ayah, the one I just recited from Surah Al-Ma'idah. And the third one, the author, he said, اعتبارا بالأصل إذ إنه طاهر التقى بأعضاء المستعمل له وهي طاهرة فلم يفقده ذلك من طهوريته شيئا. And the writer or the alim, the sheikh, he said the water met or touched limbs which are tahira. So tahir met with tahir. Yani something pure met with something pure means does not get like najasa, or it is still tahir. So that's the third one. Then we go now to the issue number 2, the water which is mixed with something which is tahir. Something, whether it's liquid or something else, is tahir. Yani water, this water, tahir, pure, and mixed with something is tahir. So the hukum here, the Sheikh said, أنه باق على أصله, means it stays on the same rule. It means it's still tahir, pure. And you can use it as a purification, to pure yourself, to make wudu, or to have a shower, or to clean your clothes from dirt or from najasa, from impurity. حتى لو تغير حتى لو even this water like changes. بأن ظهر فيه, and that the color of the thing which mixed with this water change little bit, change the color of the water, but this change is like minor. It's not, it means we still call it water. We don't call it like, as we said the last time, as a juice or something. Still we call it water. Even like mixed with this pure thing, pure liquid or something tahir, but it's still the water, although the color changes little bit, but it's still, we call it water. We don't call it other thing, like we don't call it juice or anything. بأن ظهر فيه لون هذا الطاهر أو طعمه أو ريحه بشرط ألا يكون التغير فاحشا. The condition is that this change should not be like a major, should be like a minor, very little. Yeah? But if it's like the color changed like very, يعني خلاص, you cannot, we cannot call it water anymore, or like this red, like red, or like orange became orange, yeah, or green. So in this case, then the water means it's still tahir, but you cannot use it as a mutahhar, as a purification, like to make wudu with it, or to have a shower with it, to use it for a shower or for ghusl. When I said shower, he means ghusl. That's what I mean. Shower. Ghusl means the term which is used like ghusl, like to, if you have for example, if you have had the intercourse with your wife or with your husband, and or if you, for example, for the ladies, if they they had the period, and then their period finished, then they have to purify themselves. They have to have a shower. They have to have a ghusl. So that's what shower means, ghusl. So فإن أخرجه عن إطلاق اسم الماء عليه فالماء طاهر فقط لكنه غير مطهر فلا تصح الطهارة به كما سبق. So that's what the Sheikh said. If the change is minor, and we still call the water is water, we don't call it other name, we still call it water, and the change is very little, minor, so still we can use it for wudu. But if it changes, like the change is major and we don't call it water anymore, then you cannot, the water is still pure, you can drink it if it's juice or, yeah, but you cannot make ghusl, or you cannot make wudu with it. And then there is another hadith عن أم هاني رضي الله عنها قالت. أم هاني, this is the daughter of Abi Talib, or of Abu Talib. So she is cousin of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she is the sister of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Ja'far and Aqil. So Hani, and she embraced Islam like in the time of Fatah, Mecca. So she was very late. So she embraced Islam after conquered of Mecca, in the time of Fatah, and after the Prophet ﷺ conquered Mecca, and he was having shower, and Hani came, and Fatima was holding, to cover the Prophet ﷺ so no one can see him, like to cover him. She was holding a garment, piece of garment, like, to cover so no one can see him when he was having a shower. And so Hani came, and she greeted the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ, he asked Fatima, who is she? And then Hani, she said, Hani, and her name was Fatiha, or Fakhita. Fakhita, she said Fakhita or Hani bint Abi Talib. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, he greeted her and he said, Ahlan wa sahlan, or bi Ummi Hani. Ahlan wa sahlan bi Ummi Hani means welcome Hani. So she embraced Islam very late, like in the time of Fatah Mecca. Means in the time of Fatah Mecca. When was the Fatah Mecca? Which year? Do you know which year the Fatah Mecca? No one? Huh? No, there was in the 10th of the Hijri. Yeah. Okay?
I thought it's the 7th.
Hmm?
I thought it's the 7th of the Hijrah.
No. That was Khaybar. Yes. Okay. And so she embraced Islam very late. And Hani, and also the Prophet ﷺ, he asked to marry her. Because when she embraced Islam, her husband, in the time of Fatah Mecca, her husband escaped. He ran away to a city, I can't remember the name, and he did not embrace Islam. No one from the scholars of Sirah said that he embraced Islam. So she was divorced from him because he's not a Muslim. Because as we know, a Muslim, a female Muslim cannot marry non-Muslim. So then the Prophet ﷺ, he asked to marry her. He asked her, and she said, "Inni musabbiyatun." Inni musabbiyatun means I have children. I'm old. She said, I am old. Another narration, she said, I am old and I have kids. So the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't say anything. He praised her that she's looking after the kids, and so she said she asked the Prophet ﷺ, like she had excuse. She said, I have children to look after them, and she said, I am old now and I have kids to look after them. Inni musabbiyatun. That's what she said in the hadith. Inni musabbiyatun means I have kids. So this Hani radiyallahu anha قالت, and also the Prophet ﷺ, she said Ibn Abi means she was telling like Ali, because Ali her brother. So she said, Ibn Abi told me that إنه قاتل رجلا, he will kill a man, and this man, she said, like he's in under my protection, means أجرته. الجيرة in the time of the in the Arab, if someone like takes someone under his protection, no one can touch him. So she said, he's under my protection. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, we take the people you took under your protection, means we take them under our protection, means no one can touch them. So the Prophet ﷺ, he agreed to her that means he is still under her and the Prophet ﷺ's protection. So means Ali cannot kill him, and she said Fulan ibn Habira, but she didn't call in the hadith. She did not call the name Fulan ibn Habira, means, and she was her husband. His name is Habira ibn Amr al-Makhzumi. So, but he did not embrace Islam. Okay, in the hadith, Hani, she said, اغتسل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وميمونة من إناء واحد من قصعة فيها أثر العجين. Hani narrated that the Prophet ﷺ and Maymuna, his wife, our mother Maymuna bint al-Harith, they had a shower together in the same like with the same container. They had a shower, ghusl means together, with the same container. Like they they shared the container of the water, and this container had signs of like it was used for ajeen, for dough. Means you can see the athar, the footstep of the dough still in the container. So means this dough is tahir, pure, and mixed with the water. So the water did not change and is still pure. And the Prophet ﷺ and our mother Maimuna, they had a shower or ghusl with this water. Means if the water is mixed with something tahir, means, and this even like the change of the color or the smell or the taste, like very little, then it's still tahir, it's still pure, and you can use it as a purification, as a liquid to purify yourself. So this is another evidence, and this hadith is sahih. And all the mothers of يعني Aisha and Salama and Juwayriyah, all of them, they said that they had a shower with the Prophet ﷺ together. Means they were sharing the water together. Means when you share with the water, means it becomes like used, because someone is using it with you. So it is used. The water is this is used, and that's evidence. Means the used water, as long as it's still pure, means you can use it for purification. And then also another hadith which narrated by Ibn Mas'ud, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, as we know, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud al-Hudhali. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he's one of the great Sahaba, and he was one of the fuqaha, the scholars of Sahaba. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he was one of the scholars of the Sahaba in fiqh, and also in Quran. He was one of the reciters, and he was the first one to recite the Quran loudly in Mecca. He was the first one to recite the Quran loudly in Mecca. And as the story of the incident, the Quraysh, they came and they started to hit him, and he was tortured when he recited the Quran loudly. Like the Quraysh hear the Quran. Before, they used to, the Sahaba, the early Sahaba, they used to like to hide the Quran and to hide their deen. Yeah, only the people who like they Quraysh know these are Muslims was the Prophet ﷺ and Khadija and Ali ibn Abi Talib in the beginning. Then Abu Bakr. They go to Kaaba and they make tawaf and they pray there. And that's when Abdullah ibn Mas'ud once he was visiting Al-Abbas, and he was going to the market of the what they call it, fragrance, Tib, yeah, and he was famous with Tib, so he wants to buy fragrance. So, and he visited Al-Abbas, and he saw one man and one lady and a young boy. He saw them going around the Kaaba and making tawaf. They first received the when they istilam at the rukn, and so when you start to make tawaf, you go to touch the to come from the rukn al-yamani, then you come to touch the black stone, Hajar al-Aswad, and then you start your tawaf. So he saw them, and he said, "Who are they?" He said, "It's strange. This is the first, he was telling Al-Abbas. He said to him, "What kind of religion this?" He said to him, and who are they? And because Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he didn't know the Prophet ﷺ before Islam. So Al-Abbas, he said, "Yeah, this is I only know these three people that on this deen. Yeah, he said this man and the lady and the young boy. And he said, who are they? He said, you don't know them. He said, this is my nephew. Al-Abbas, he said, this is my nephew, and that's his wife. The lady is his wife, and the young boy is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib. He's also his nephew. Al-Abbas' nephew, because Al-Abbas and Abu Talib, they are brothers. So he said, yeah, it's very strange. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said that. He's very strange. Yeah. So, and once Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was looking after, he was shepherding he was a shepherd, like he was looking after some sheep. And the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr passed by him. They passed by. And they came to him. They asked him, oh ghulam, oh young boy, do you have milk? He said, yes, I have, but I am trusted. It means someone trusted him, to look after the sheep. It means I cannot do it, I cannot give you. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, okay, do you have a sheep doesn't have like a chill, doesn't have little lambs, and means it did not give birth before, and means doesn't have milk at all? He said, yes. He said, okay, bring it. Then Abdullah ibn Mas'ud brought that sheep, and the Prophet ﷺ, he wiped the sheep's breast, and then the breast was full of milk, and they milked the sheep. They took the milk, and then the Prophet ﷺ, he says some du'as, and he asked the breast to to shrink, means nothing in it. So then Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, when they left, they thanked him and they left. And he said, before they left, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud asked the Prophet ﷺ, he said, can you teach me this? Can you teach me this? He said, then Prophet ﷺ, he wiped the head of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and he said to him, إِنَّكَ غُلَيْمٌ مُعَلَّمٌ. إِنَّكَ غُلَيْمٌ مُعَلَّمٌ means you are a young or youth that you have a knowledge. So he became like one of the smartest people in Mecca, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and he was young when he embraced Islam. And he said, I was sixth of the people who embraced Islam. So in hadith, he said, Sadisu Sitta, means I was number 6 of the people who embraced Islam, early Islam. So he had a lot of knowledge, and he said, I took from Prophet Muhammad like from his lips, I took 70 surahs of Quran. No one can yunazi'ni, means no one can argue with me. 70 surah he took from Prophet Muhammad directly. So and he was one of the scholars in the Quran and fiqh, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and as we know, he has a special recitation, and he was one of the people who had Sahaba who had very nice voice also. So he used to recite Quran, and the Prophet ﷺ used to ask him to recite for him. So that's Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. And so in this hadith, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, إِذَا غَسَلَ الْجُنُبُ رَأْسَهُ بِالْخَطْمِ أَجْزَأَهُ. It means if the one who has janaba, who has janaba is the major incident. We said we have minor incident and major incident. Minor incident you need only wudu, and the major incident you need ghusl. So he said, if the one who has the janaba washes his head with khatmi. Khatmi is kind of grass or plant, kind of grass. They used to use it for like, to wash their heads, to their hair, to wash their hair, to make a nice smell. So he said, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, means the ghusl is correct. The ghusl is sahih. If someone used the khatmi, it's kind of grass, it means the ghusl is sahih. And the sheikh, he said, nowadays, if someone uses, like, not sheikh, another fatwa, they say, if some scholars, they say, if someone used like shampoo or soap, and then he puts the water on it, like, he puts the shampoo or the soap first, and then he pours or she pours water on it, means, and with the intention of ghusl, means the ghusl is sahih. The ghusl is sahih. Now we go to the next issue. الماء الذي خلطته نجاسة حكمه كماله. So now we go to the water which mixed with the najasa, with impurity, with something is najasa. Yeah, something is najasa. Najasa is impurity or dirt. So something, the water which is mixed with dirt or najasa. The first one, إذا تغير بهذه النجاسة أحد أوصاف الماء وهي طعمه أو لونه أو ريحه فإن الماء يصير نجسا والدليل على ذلك الإجماع. So Sheikh said here, when the water is mixed with najasa, if one of the three things, one of the description of the water, like the color and the taste and the smell, changes, one of them changes, then the water is not pure anymore. It is najis. So you cannot use it as a purification. Also, it's not pure. So if it mixed with the najasa, with impurity, and the color changes, and or the smell or the taste, then the water is not pure anymore. You cannot use it as a purification, and also you cannot drink it because it's not pure anymore. It's najis, and we cannot drink najasa. We cannot drink najasa. And the evidence is ijma'. This is ijma'. You know the ijma'. Ijma' is like agreed upon, means in the time of the Sahaba and Salaf, and the ijma' means they hear this hukm and no one refused it. No one refused the ijma' is one of the sources of Islam. As we know, the first source is the Quran, and the second source is Sunnah, and the third source is ijma'. These three, like all the scholars agreed, this one. Then after qiyas and qawl al-sahabi, the saying of sahabi, and also the al-istihsan and al-masalih al-mursala and shara' man kana qablana, idha lam, the shara' of those who came before us, as long as it's not contradicting the Quran and the Sunnah. So these resources, there is like controversy, or like what they call it, also like is not agreed upon, like there is differences in it. So some scholars they agree, some scholars they don't agree. The other after three, but three, the first Quran and Sunnah and ijma', no one, there is no controversy in it. So all the scholars they agreed. So ijma', this is from ijma', means if the impurity mixes with the water, and one of the descriptions of the water changes, like color or smell or taste, then the water becomes impure. Okay. قال ابن المنذر رحمه الله: أجمع على أن الماء القليل أو الكثير إذا وقعت فيه نجاسة فغيرت للماء طعما أو لونا أو ريحا أنه نجس ما دام كذلك. So this is from ijma'. كذلك this is from the book of Nawawi, المجموع. So Ibn al-Mundhir, one of the scholars, he said that it became ijma' that if the like little water or like a lot of water, like big amount or little amount of water, if something falls in it, like najasa falls in it, whether it's the water is little or like big amount, then and the one of the description of the water, like the color and the smell and the taste changes, then it becomes najis. The water becomes najis. Then we come to the second issue, which is إذا لم يتغير أحد أوصافه السابقة. And if the second issue, if one of the description of the water does not change, like the color or the taste or the smell does not like change, then the water stays pure and is used as purification. So it does not become impure. It doesn't become najis. Yeah, it does not become najis, like impure. والدليل على ذلك ما رواه أصحاب السنن عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه قيل يا رسول الله أنا أتوضأ من بئر بضاعة وهي بئر يلقى فيها الحيض ولحوم الكلاب والنتن فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الماء طهور لا ينجسه شيء. الماء طهور لا ينجسه شيء. This is from the evidence, that if nothing changed, like from the color or the taste or the smell, this is from hadith which narrated by the Ashab al-Sunan. Ashab al-Sunan means the like An-Nasa'i, Ibn Majah, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawood. So these are the Sunan. Ashab al-Sunan means the book of Sunan. And this hadith narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. As we know, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, one of the mukthirin, those who are, mukthirin, those who narrated a lot of hadith. And he was the last one to narrate 1,170 hadith. So he was one of the mukthirin, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, one of the mukthirin. As we know, the mukthirin, Abu Huraira, Abdullah ibn Umar, Anas ibn Malik, Aisha Siddiq, al-Mu'mineen, Aisha bint al-Siddiq, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in, Abdullah ibn Abbas, and Jabir ibn Abdullah, and Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. These are 7 who narrated the most hadith. Who narrated the most hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So al-Mukthirin, they are called al-Mukthirin, means those who are narrated a lot of hadith. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, قيل يا رسول الله, the Sahaba, they asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أنا أتوضأ, can we make wudu from بئر بضاعة? بئر, this is well of Buda'a. Buda'a is a name of this well. It is called Buda'a. And there is another narrated Bida'a. So it's the same, but the famous one is Buda'a. Okay, Buda'a, بئر Buda'a. It's a famous well, yeah, in Medina. And this well, the people used to throw the clothes, the clothes which are used, like the ladies used to wipe the the blood from their period, and also they used people to throw the meat of the dogs, and also the adara. Adara means nothing, means the adar is like the stoles of the people, like so that it's dirt, yeah. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-ma'u tahur, means the water is pure. La yunjizuhu shay, means nothing will make it impure. Nothing will make it impure, means you can make wudu from bi'r buda'a. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said to them. It's still pure, because and as long as the color or the taste or the smell is not changed. Okay. So this hadith صريح بمنطوقه على طهارة الماء means this hadith is directly, it is clear that the water is pure. The water is pure. وأنه لا ينجس to say means the water is pure and nothing will make it najis as long as the color or the smell or the taste is not changed. وقد تقدم نقل الإجماع على ثبوت النجاسة إذا تغير أحد أوصافه فقط. إذا كان and if the one of these descriptions like the color or the smell or the taste change, then it becomes najis. وقد يقول قائل يعارض هذا الحديث حديث القلتين ولفظه إذا بلغ الماء قلتين لم يحمل الخبث. إذا بلغ الماء قلتين لم يحمل الخبث لأن مفهومه أن ما دون القلتين يحمل الخبث. This hadith, maybe the Sheikh, he said, maybe some like a person or some says this hadith is contradicting with the another hadith, which is the Prophet ﷺ said, إذا بلغ if the water reaches the amount of قلتين. قلتين is a measurement. قلتين is a measurement they used to measure the water. قلتين, and the scholars they said it's about 200. قلتين means about 200 kilogram of water. 200 kilogram is a lot of water. Yeah, it's more than 200 liters, I think. More, huh? I think it's more than 200 liters of water. So it's a lot of water. Means so it cannot be changed from the description. لأن مفهوم أن ما دون القلتين يحمل خبث. والجواب أنه لا معارضة بين الحديثين لأنه يقال أولا إذا بلغ قلتين فأكثر فإنه لا يحمل خبث في أي حال من الأحوال. Here the Sheikh answers about this. He said someone maybe thinks it's contradicting this hadith with the other hadith. The one is Bi'r Buda'a. So he said means if it's like less than two qullas, qullatayn means two qulla, yeah. And if it's less than that means it can carry the khabath, it can carry the najasa of the water. But the Sheikh he said here لأن كثرته تحول دون ظهور النجاسة فيها أو تأثره بها وهذا موافق الحديث الأول الماء طهور لا ينجس means when the water is a lot, he said, means like nothing will change the color or the smell or the taste because the water is a lot, so nothing will affect it. And ثاني وأما ما دون القلتين فلم ينص الحديث على أنه يحمل الخبث لكن يفهم منه أنه مظن حمل الخبث وليس فيه أنه يحمل الخبث نصا ولا أن ما يحمله من الخبث يخرجه عن الطهورية إلا إذا يتغير أحد وصفه. As we said, the mizan or the scale or the rule is as long as the color and the color or the taste, not and the color or the taste or the smell, because if any one of these description changes, then the water becomes najis. If the najasa, yeah, the water becomes najis. Okay. قال صديق حسن خان رحمه الله إنما دون القلتين إن حمل الخبث حملا استلزم تغير ريح الماء أو لونه أو طعمه فهذا هو الأمر الموجب للنجاسة والخروج عن الطهورية وإن حمله حملا لا يغير أحد تلك الأوصاف فليس هذا الحمل مستلزما للنجاسة. As I said to you, the scale or the rule, as long as the one of these three things is not changed, then the color is still pure. But if the color or the smell or the taste change, then it becomes najasa. Okay, now we come to the issue. Okay, inshallah, we finish at 9, inshallah. ما يقع في الماء. So now we are going to talk about things which fall in the water, like the sticks, or the dust, or the grass, or like when it's flooding, you bring everything, yeah. So we're gonna study this, or the leaves of the tree, yeah, or the algae, algae, yeah, طحالب, it's called طحالب, yeah. So من ورق الأشجار والطحلب أو ما تحمله الريح فتسقطه في الماء أو تجذبه السيول من العيدان والتبن ونحوه فيتغير الماء به، كل ذلك لا يخرجه عن طهوريته، بمعنى أنه باق على أصله طاهر مطهر، لعموم قوله فلم تجدوا ماء فتيمموا، وهذا واجد للماء فلا يجوز العدول عنه إلى غيره. So the leaves of the trees fall into the water, or when it's flooding, what the water brings, the sticks and like dust, and the water is still pure. You can make wudu with it, and because these things are pure, so it's still you cannot you cannot use tayammum, you cannot go to tayammum. Means you have to make wudu with water, or you have to make ghusl with water. So you have no excuse, because the water is still pure. The water is still pure. You cannot make tayammum. As long as you find the water is there, so these things cannot change the water to it takes the purity out of this water. So the water is still pure. Okay. Even if you these things, like you see the color, for example, the color of the algae are green, yeah. So the water becomes green, yeah, but it's still pure. And also the leaves sometimes, if the leaves are green or like brown, the water becomes the brown, yeah, or the dust, yeah, becomes when it's flooding, yeah, the water becomes brown. So it's still pure. Still pure. You can make wudu, as even the color of the water is changed. Alaykum salam. The issue number 5: إذا وقع تراب في الماء فغيره. If the dust falls into the water and it changes the color of the water is still pure, because the dust is pure, so it's still pure. Naam.
So when the water has dust in it, so you can make wudu, but
yes,
but you cannot drink it, right?
No, of course. If it harms you, then you can. The water is still pure, but you cannot drink it. First, maybe it harms you, your body is not healthy for you because of the dust. But if you can, for example, you take the water and you are thirsty, and you take the water until it settles, like it stays for some time, the dust will come down, yeah, and the clean water will go up, yeah. So you can drink it, but if you don't like it, you cannot accept it because of the nafs, yeah, then it's okay, but it's still pure. The water is still pure.
It's not a criteria that any water which is good for wudu should be consumed. It's not necessary.
No, it's not necessary. No, it's not necessary. No. It's still, you can make wudu, but you cannot drink it if it harms you. Yeah. For example, like the chlorine, it's used in the water. Yeah. and sometimes even you can see even you can smell it, but you cannot drink it. If you think it will harm you, you cannot drink. But still, you can make wudu with it, and you can make ghusl with it. Okay. Now we come to the al-ma' al-majin, al-ma' al-ajin. Al-ma' al-ajin, the water which is stored like in a tank for a long time. You know the majin, we call it in our countries majin. Majin is like the people dig the ground, and they build like a majin, and they store water in it. Sometimes from the rain, the rain, and they collect this water and they store it in the majin. It's called majin, and this water is called, when it stays for long, it's called ajin. Yeah, like in the tanks. Yeah, some people they have the tanks, like in many countries they don't have clean water, and they have tanks on their houses. Yeah, so if the water stays for a long time and even the color, sometimes the taste changes, as long as there is no najasa in it, it is still pure. It is still pure. You can use it for ghusl and for wudu. So except this is ijma', except all the scholars agree to this except Ibn Sirin. Ibn Sirin, Ibn Sirin, yeah, Muhammad Ibn Sirin. This is one of the tabi'in, Muhammad Ibn Sirin. He doesn't agree to this, and he said la yajuz means, but the qawl al-jamhur, the majority of the scholars, it's ijma', yeah. So you can use it for ghusl and وضوء. قال ابن قدامة رحمه الله: وإذا كان على العضو طاهر كالزعفران والعجين فتغير به الماء وقت غسله لم يمنع حصول الطهارة به. Okay, now if when you're making wudu or like ghusl and you have something like saffron, saffron on your limbs, like on one of your limbs, like hand, or or ajeen, like dough on your hands. Like the people who make the bread makers, the baker. Some bakers they make the dough and this with their hands, and so you will find the ajeen on their hands, So when they make wudu, this water mixes with this with the saffron or with the dough, and when it mixes, it changes the color, because like when you wash, and you can see like the water, for example, if there is ajeen here, you can see the water changes to like beige, or still it means still your wudu is, or ghusl is sahih, is correct, is sahih. It is still sahih. Okay. And the Shaykh, he said: قلت وعلى هذا لو اغتسل بالصابون ثم أراق الماء على جسده وعليه الصابون ونحوه فالغسل صحيح. And he said, the Shaykh, he said, so from this evidence, he said, if someone washes his body, or he washes his body with a sabun or shampoo, and then he pours water on it, then the ghusl is sahih. The ghusl is sahih. As long as the shampoo is not mixed with the water, No. You put it on your body or on your head, and then you pour water. Water is pure, naqi. So that's the ghusl and wudu is sahih. And this is from the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. They used to they wash their hair with the khatmi. Khatmi is, we said, is a kind of grass. They used to use it for their hair to make it smell nice. Okay. we okay, we stop here inshallah because we come to the like the يجوز الوضوء بالماء المشمس والماء الساخن. We will come to the hot water and with the water which put outside in the sun to make it warm, yeah, and also the water which is hot, the hot water. Inshallah, we will talk about it, and also the ma zamzam also, the zamzam water also. We will talk about it inshallah next lesson inshallah.